Morning, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you hopping on. This is my daily live happening at 11 a.m. weekdays. It is the UK business and coronavirus update for everyone today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hopping on. Hello, Sean. Hello. Thank you for joining me. If you are hopping on live, do give me a hello in the comments. Let me know that you are here. It is always lovely to see that you are here. Hello, Adam. Hello, Ahmed. Hello, Army Forever. Hello, everybody who is hopping on. Good morning, Barry. Thank you for tuning in today, whichever platform you are watching on. I do very much appreciate it. I also often get asked about my setup for this live stream where we are live in numerous places at the same time. So I am going to do a video for my YouTube channel, I think, on this to help people out and show you what my setup is. Adam, I am very well this morning. Thank you very much for asking. So this morning we are covering UK business and coronavirus, making sure that I can see the comments from all areas as they come in, which I believe I can. So for those of you that don't know me, if you are new to my live sessions, my name is Annette Ferguson. I am CEO of Annette & Co, UK-based accounting firm. I am a chartered accountant and certified Profit First professional. And I help business owners take home more money from their business for them and their families to enjoy. Basically helping businesses become more profitable. Of course, during this current period of time, that is incredibly challenging for many, many businesses, which is why I decided to start these daily live streams, weekdays at 11 a.m. to support you both during this time and, of course, beyond. So we are going to crack into it today. If you have any questions or queries, please do let me know in the comments. I am happy to answer those. Anything around UK business, the economy, all those kinds of things. What I am not here to do, though, is to answer any health-related coronavirus questions. I am not a doctor, and therefore I do not have any insights into any health-related questions. I am here to speak about the financial side of things, in particular around UK business. So let's hop into where our content for today. I, as always, have a pile of notes that I want to go through to make sure that I cover everything off for everybody today. So the first thing, which was breaking news this morning, was the unemployment figures. So the unemployment figures, unemployment has increased in April by 856,500 people. That is up to 2.1 million unemployed. Now, in some ways, we were relatively lucky coming into this time period because prior to this crisis, employment in the UK was actually at an all-time high. So therefore, you know, our base level of unemployment was very, very low. But as I say, unfortunately, in April, we've got 856,500 people having been made unemployed. I agree that is a huge, huge number. And of course, this is during the point in time where we do have furlough schemes in place, which are said to have saved millions of jobs at the moment. And we do have things like the self-employed scheme, which is paying out people who are self-employed. We expect that as time goes by and as these schemes wind down, of course, unemployment will get higher. And there have been some people quoting statistics that they expect unemployment to get to around about 6.5 million. As well as those unemployment figures, unfortunately, we are also seeing that the number of working hours for those still in work is decreasing. So on average, historically, they have been sitting this year at around 32 to 33 hours a week. They have dropped now to about 24.8 hours a week. That is the largest annual decrease in 10 years in terms of the number of working hours. So that is also incredibly worrying for many people. So not only do we have these unemployment figures that have been announced, but we also have that big decrease in the number of hours that people are working who are employed. We also heard today that Uber are cutting an additional 3,000 jobs in addition to the 3,700 they previously announced last week as well. So unemployment is going to cause big issues for the economy in general, for businesses specifically. If you are relying on people buying your goods and services, they will have less money available. They will have less cash if they are being made unemployed. If you are dealing B2B, and I'll speak about this shortly later, we're seeing a number of business administrations. Again, that's going to cause a problem for you as well. So questions and comments, do let me know in the comments if you have any questions, if there's anything that you want me to cover today. Let's have a look. Cup of Tea is saying that they are pregnant. Congratulations. Let's see. No, I don't think we have any other questions coming in. This is my daily update, UK business and coronavirus. So covering things around the banks, the economy, the governments, the support that's available, and how UK businesses are currently coping as well. So we're seeing that the pound sinks to the bottom of the G10 league table. That is amidst growing discussions of negative interest rates potentially happening in the UK. The Bank of England has said it's an option that is being discussed. And in May, the pound lost 4% against the dollar and 3% against the euro. So the pound performing incredibly badly, quite frankly, at the moment. That is, of course, a worry if you are dealing in multi-currencies, if you have different currency exposures, what that looks like for you. If you're a small business and you are paying for things in dollars or paying for things in euros, that's going to affect your cash flow as well. As the pound weakens, you're going to have a problem there as well, because things are going to start to cost you more. So if you are paying for subscriptions or even staff in different currencies, then you are going to have a knock-on effect to your own business and your own business's cash flow as a result of fluctuations in currency, and in particular, the pound being plummeting in the way that it is. So that is something to bear in mind if you are running a small business. That still very much affects you if you have any spending in any other foreign currencies. Important to note. Barry is saying, do I know when the banks are stopping the interest-free part of overdraft fees, etc.? Barry, we've not heard about that, but I think it was initially set to June. But I haven't heard any update on that at all, actually. So that is something to still keep an eye on and watch out for. The difficulty is going to be that at the moment, people are receiving support. So they are receiving support in the way of the self-employed scheme, potentially furlough, grants that are available for businesses with premises. So people are, generally speaking, business owners are able to have some money flowing. Of course, there are a big sector that have been left out. We know that there's campaigns for people who are newly started businesses. There are campaigns for those people who are on annual payroll, for those people who are on minimum salary and dividends. Yes, there are these people who have got issues, but in actual fact, it is more likely that people are going to experience personal financial hardship much more in Q3 and Q4 of this year than they have done just now. So I have a really big worry that people have taken advantage of things like mortgage holidays, repayment on loan holidays now, when now is not actually probably the time they're going to need it most. They're probably going to need it most in 3 months, 6 months time, and in which case they've already taken the holiday. Therefore, the likelihood of them being offered it again is lower. So that is my big concern at the moment for this situation as well. Nicholas is saying, if your bank isn't lending, where can you turn? Nicholas, is that in relation to bounce back loans or Sybil's loans? Let me know, Nicholas, what you're specifically referring to, and I will answer that question for you depending on exactly where you are, what you're speaking about and what you're looking for. Or are you speaking about personal lending? Are you speaking about mortgages? Let me know, Nicholas, specifically what you are speaking about when you're saying your bank isn't lending, so that I can answer that question fully, and I will do that. Thank you for those of you who are hopping on. If you are getting value from what I share, or you've been on my lives before and you know that you get value from what I share, I would massively appreciate if you want to share this broadcast out to your followers, your fans, your friends, whatever terminology is used on whichever platform you are watching. I would massively appreciate if you want to do that. Good morning, Joshua. Good morning, Dimitri. Good morning, Colin. Good morning, Toby. Good morning, Simon. Good morning, Blue Bear. Thank you so much, everyone who is hopping on and joining me this morning. I do appreciate. Thank you for the share, Barry. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. Self-employed scheme, the SEISS. We're hearing some real mixed reports on this, as is often the way with these schemes as they have come out. We are hearing a number of people now have got the funds into their bank accounts for the SEISS scheme. They are starting to arrive. Of course, that scheme opened up last week and payments were said to be taking around about 6 working days. So it looks like that was bang on. Some people started receiving their funds yesterday who applied a week ago. So that, in some instances, seems to be working. And it seems to be working quite well for those business owners who have been self-employed for a number of years. They don't have any changes or fluctuations very much in their profits. It's all good. That seems to work beautifully for those people. We heard yesterday about the issue with people who had been off on maternity during that time period. And when looking, of course, at their average profits for a period of time when they had taken off to raise a family, then that is causing big issues in their claim amounts that they can make. So they are being financially disadvantaged there with that. I've also been hearing that there are a number of business owners, particularly people who had their first self-employed year in 18-19, having issues with eligibility, computer says no type issues, and having to raise that for submissions to get callbacks and email backs, but having waited a week now and not heard anything. So we are hearing some issues on that front as well. So if that is you, I would say keep persisting with that, trying to get to speak to somebody to resolve your case, because we are hearing a number of those as well. We're also hearing issues of people going and checking their eligibility and how much they can claim, and it being very, very different from what they imagined based on what they believed they had submitted. So again, worth checking that through, speaking to your accountant. Although your accountant is unable to submit these claims on your behalf, which is a bit frustrating for many, many people, you can then check, of course, the numbers with your accountant to make sure that they are where you expected them to be and there is no difference there. And if there is, of course, you can raise that as an issue. So that is the SEISS. That is the Self-Employed Grant Scheme that is currently underway. And businesses business owners, self-employed people, were given a date and time where they could submit their form, their application. Now, if you're not sure of your date and time of submission, then you can go to the eligibility checker on the gov.uk website. That tells you, once you put in your UTR, your unique tax reference number, that tells you the date and time that you can submit, and therefore you can do that. Now, if you have past that date and time, you can do it straight away. But if you've not reached it yet, then they advise not to submit to avoid flooding the system. Jojo Wilson, you can have a shout out. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate that. Britt, and thank you for tuning back in again today. Carly Cummings, thank you so much. Paulie Paul, thank you for joining me. Lily Rose, thank you. Jonas, thank you for joining me very much. I appreciate you hopping in. Paulie Paul is saying, with the government help for self-employed, do we need to pay this money back once this is all over? No, Paulie Paul, this is a pure grant for self-employed people up to a total of $2,500 per month for a 3-month period. A pure grant. There is no repayment required of this at all. But you do need to note that the grant is taxable. So you will have to put it on your next self-assessment tax return in that time period. So important to note that as well, Paulie Paul, but it is not repayable in any way, but it is taxable. So what else are we hearing over the last 24 hours? We are hearing a large number of business administrations at the moment. Last night, it was announced that Casual Dining Group is now pursuing administration. They are employing over 6,000 people in the UK, and some of their chains include Bella Italia and Café Rouge as well. So they are in serious financial difficulty at the moment and looking at administration for them. We've also heard of another of other restaurant brands as well, Food and Fuel, Carluccio's, Byron Burger, all really struggling and trying to find buyers to get themselves out of an administration position. I'm just going to take a drink of my tea as well. You are welcome, Jojo. So Antler Luggage are also now heading into administration. They have made more than 3/4 of their workforce redundant. Johnson Shoes, 145 strong workforce, first opened their doors 50 years ago. Also now in administration. Newfield Southampton Theatre, been running for over 50 years. Also in administration. We also heard a huge number of construction firms in March have gone under. St Mary's Independent School, Southampton, Warehouse, Oasis, and various signature living groups, just to name a few of the businesses that are either now in administration or have raised their hand to say they are very, very close to it. It's pretty grim reading, in all honesty. And, you know, with those unemployment figures, as I said, we are expecting those to increase as businesses fail, even with those furloughed staff. Those furloughed staff are going to end up in amongst that stat as well. Now, furloughed staff are being considered super priority creditors during an administration. Administrators are liable to pay employees in distressed companies, even if they are furloughed under the job retention scheme. This was just recently ruled in the courts in a case involving Debenhams and the administrators there. So furloughed staff considered super employees during an administration, which is at least something. However, we are going to see a huge number being made redundant as these businesses are failing, unfortunately. There's a lot of them and they employ a lot of people, and that's really quite devastating, in all honesty. Now, the scaling down of the job retention scheme, August to October. So as we know, the job retention scheme, the furlough scheme, is going to stay in its state that it is now until the end of July. Then August to October, there is going to be a scaling down. Now, we are hearing that charities and social enterprise employers have been told by government that it plans to bring the coronavirus job retention scheme to an eventual close, does not currently include an exemption for vulnerable workers. We are hearing that the final decisions have not been taken yet, but it's believed the Chancellor favours a universal approach to scaling back the scheme for all employers without tailoring it to reflect a gradual return to work for firms and workers. So it looks like potentially you may not be able to have any sort of "this is what's happening in my business" type element to the furlough scheme. It looks like it may just be a blanket reduction for all, according to reports in The Guardian, saying what the Chancellor is currently thinking just now. Of course, we've been told that we'll hear something towards the end of May as to the finer detail of that scheme once that is all ironed out as well. Let me see. What have we got here? So Barry's saying, I've seen quite a few posts on Facebook about people should start buying local businesses because they're struggling the most. Would you agree? Well, that that depends on a lot of things, Barry. It depends on how the business was performing before, for starters, and it depends on people's appetite for risk. There's a huge number of variables that go into buying a business, and that does not change during coronavirus. If you're buying a business, you need to be doing so with that hat on. You need to be doing so not for any other reason other than you believe you can purchase it, you believe you can turn it around, and you believe you can run it at a profit. That would be the reason for buying a business. And that still stands in any situation. With some of these administrations, they've tried to sell off parts of it. They've tried to find buyers and have not managed successfully. That will typically tell you a lot about how the business was performing before the crisis hit as well, and what that looks like. So it's important, if you are considering buying a business at this point in time to do the due diligence in the same way that you always would have done. That is incredibly important. You can't change your due diligence at the moment just because of the situation we're in. And you should never be forced into panic buying anything either. We are hearing that M&S, Marks & Spencer, is being accused of exploiting COVID-19 by selling hand sanitizer for twice as much as it is sold elsewhere. M&S had it originally at £15 and said that was a pricing error. It's now at £11.50 for 500 mils, but other shops are selling a similar amount for £4 to £5. The CMA, the Competitions and Markets Authority, have received 21,000 complaints between the 10th of March and the 19th of April relating to pandemic incidents, including grievances in relation to pricing. We also heard before from various bodies that people should not be attempting to profiteer during this crisis. Of course, profiting is okay. Profiteering not, however. We are seeing the average hike across the board of products up 130%, and hand sanitizer in particular up 367%. Quite incredible, really, when you think about it overall. Polly is saying, can we sue if we get to know who is at fault with this virus? We've lost a lot of income. I'm not sure who you would deem to want to sue. In terms of lost income, then there's the potential. If you had business interruption insurance, then there are claims going to court around that for lost income. There's all the financial support that is available for businesses. So I think that you'd have a very difficult time suing anyone over it. There are various theories and conspiracy theories as to how this started, but the most widely held view appears to be that it was a freak incident involving the consumption of animals, and therefore I can't imagine you'd be able to sue on that basis, but that is how it is. Britt Ant is saying, how long do I think the upcoming recession may last? Great question. I would have thought at least 2 to 3 years is how long it will potentially last. When we're looking at some of the financial modeling there, it looks like it might be at least that period of time, and it will be a pretty severe recession as well. Many commentators are saying that it's going to be the worst in a century, the worst in 300 years. That type of rhetoric is what is coming out of pretty much all economists now. Even those who at the beginning were saying, we'll bounce back quickly, are now very, very strongly in the camp of, we're not going to bounce back from this. This is going to be hard, and this is going to take a long time. This is going to be difficult, and it's going to affect pretty much everyone. So that is actually what we're seeing, as opposed to any other comments on that. So I hope that helps. Now, any other questions? Let me see. I think I picked up on them all. I look like I've got all the questions coming in there. If you have any other questions, do let me know in the comments. Nicholas, I didn't hear back from you on what you were referring to when you asked about what to do if your bank isn't lending. I'll just give a quick summary on the different scenarios. So if it's a bounce back loan you are looking for and your bank is not lending on that basis, then what you need to, there's only basically HSBC who are lending to non-customers. Now, the problem with that is they've had big issues with getting their bounce back loans out. So they have long wait times, and there's some severe issues with that. So if your bank is not currently lending a bounce back loan, then you might, in all honesty, have a problem getting one. However, we have a number of banks are getting added all the time. So Starling's been added, Tide's been added at the moment. Nicholas is saying any of the government-backed lending schemes. They differ a little bit, Nicholas. So the bounce-back loan, as I said, it's either just your own bank, or it is HSBC is your other option, but they themselves are having problems with that. If you are looking at the CBILS loans, the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, you do not have to go to your own bank. They are open for non-banking customers. And there are a number of fintechs also offering the CBILS loans as well. So if you need to borrow above 50,000, then that would route. You can go to one of the fintechs or any of the other banks. If it's below 50,000, you are cornered a little bit in that it's only HSBC who are currently accepting non-bank customers. However, you can speak to your personal bank. So if you have a relationship with a personal bank and they are offering businesses the bounce back loan, then there is the option to speak to them and get a bounce back loan through them. The reason is that they will have already done their money laundering checks, etc. on you if you're a personal banking customer. So it's relatively straightforward for them just to do the company side of things and get that done. Whereas the reason that many of the lenders are not lending to people who are not customers at the moment is because of the speed that they want to get these out. So these loans are due to come out between 24 and 48 hours after they have been approved. And the problem is that if they need to go through all the know your customer money laundering requirements, etc., they can't do it that quickly at the moment, particularly at the scale that people would be wanting to come on board. So that's the issue there with that, Nicholas. I hope that helps in terms of what that looks like. Of course, if your revenue is not high enough to get 50,000 or more, then it is going to be the bounce back loan that you're going to need to look at. The bounce back loan is, of course, between 2,000 and 50,000, and then 50,000 and over is the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, or CBILS as it is termed. So I hope that helps you there, Nicholas. Any follow-up questions, do let me know in the comments. And let's see if we've got any other questions that have come through that I have missed. I don't think so. I think we've got all the questions there. So do let me know if there's any questions or queries that you may have. Please do let me know in the comments while I take a drink of my tea and I can have a look at those. And I am going to be back every weekday, of course, at 11 a.m. on whichever channel you are watching this on, whether it is TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, or you are inside my Uncover Wealth community, my private community on Facebook, which if you are not there already, I invite you to come and join. You can go to Facebook and just type in the search bar the Uncover Wealth community, and you can find us there and come in and join. I have trainings every single week for Training Tuesday exclusive content in there, as well as announcing lots of things first into that group and sharing lots of information first into that group. That is my place where I hang out the most. So please do come and join me inside the Uncover Wealth community as well. If you are a business owner, it is the place to be. So I don't think I have any more questions that I can see coming in. No, I think we are good. So that is me for today. That is everything that I wanted to cover off with you today. I will be back, as I said, same time tomorrow, 11 a.m. UK on each platform that you are watching. I will be here. So please do mark it in your diaries. Please do come and join me. I would love to have you there. As I said, I would love to have you also in the Uncover Wealth community if you are not already a member there. My next training session is today at 1:30 p.m. for Training Tuesday, so I hope to see you in there ahead of that. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I will speak to you all tomorrow if I don't see you for Training Tuesday later today.